that all the divers will fill out for a dual meet or a tri-meet or the floating meet if they're doing 6 dives. We have a meet called the floating meet, which all the divers in the county will be at, and they can either do 6 dives or 11. If they don't know 11 dives yet, they'll be able to do 6 dives in that meet. So this is the sheet that gets filled out for a 6-dive meet. And it's simple at the top. You just put their name and the school they're from. The meet, when you get to the meet on any of the sheet, it's Mill Creek versus DeCula, or Archer versus Parkview. That's what meet is for. Boy, girl, date. The order is filled out by the officials, so you do not fill out the order. Okay. In a 6-dive meet, the first dive is the voluntary dive, which to me is crazy. When I was diving 100 years ago, it was called a required dive because it's required to do. Somehow it got changed to voluntary dive, which makes absolutely no sense to me because you're not volunteering, you're required to do it. So the only reason I think it's called voluntary is because you can pick the dive to do out of that group. So if the required group is forward, then you can do a forward dive or a forward somersault. It doesn't have to be a certain dive, it has to be out of the required group. So the first dive is your voluntary dive. And then dives 2 through 6, you have to do at least 4 out of the 5 groups. Now your groups in diving are back here on your DD list. There's a forward, back, reverse, inward, and twist groups. Those are the 5 groups in diving. So you will do 1 voluntary dive out of the required group, and then dives 2 through 6, you can do at least 4, you have to do at least 4 out of the 5. You can do 5 out of 5, but you have to hit at least 4 out of 5 groups. So if your diver does not know a reverse yet, then they can skip that dive down here, unless it's the week that it's required, voluntary. Okay, your voluntary dive is the one that has the lower degree of difficulty. So if it's the forward group, you would most likely pick a forward dive, a forward somersault, or maybe a forward 1.5. Your higher DDs go down in your optional dives because your degree of difficulty for your voluntary dive cannot be more than 1.8. So if the only thing you can do in the forward group is a forward double, and you put it down as your voluntary dive, you look on the back and the forward double DD is higher than 1.8, you would only get 1.8 for that dive. Okay? If you're doing a dive that's 1.6, you get 1.6. But it cannot be higher than 1.8. If it is, you can do the dive, but you only get 1.8 degree of difficulty. Does that make sense? After you fill out the dives, you're going to fill out the dive number right here, which is on the back also on the degree of difficulty. Each group starts with, the forward start with a 1, the back start with a 2. All of the forward dives are 1 something, the back dives are 2 something, reverse is 3 something. So all of that group starts with the same number. Okay, so you'll look, if you're doing a forward 1.5, you go to the forward group. You go to forward 1.5 SS, which means somersault, and you see the dive number is 103. So you go here to the dive number and you write 103. Then written description, you would write forward FWD, whatever, so you're doing forward 1 somersault, 1 SS. So you write down the description and then you put the position. The position is A, B, C, and D. We used to do it differently. We used to put S for straight, P for pike, T for tuck, and F for free. It's now changed. We need to do A, B, C, and D. A is straight, and it has it on the back, so you don't have to memorize all this. The divers after 2 meets will know it. But A is straight, B is pike, C is tuck, and D is free. So that's your position that you put down. Okay, so you're going to fill out the dive number, the position, the written description, and then you're going to write in your DD. Okay, so you look on the back, you find out the degree of difficulty, you write it right there, and then you're done with filling out this part of your sheet. This is for your judges' scores, and then this is where they tally the score over here. Okay, after your diver fills it out and your coach looks at it to make sure it's filled out correctly, then the diver signs the sheet, and then the coach signs the sheet. It's very important that both signatures are on here. and the date. The referee signs the rest, and the final and all that is done by the scoring table.